Gonna be doing some oil painting today. I'm working on art oil paper, arches, one of them. And I've toned it with just like a raw umber and a bit of lemon yellow kind of background, just for a little toning because I find white's a bit hard to see your values on. I have titanium white, I think is a lemon yellow, scarlet red, ultramarine blue, and burnt umber as my colours. Most of them either Sennelier or Michael Harding, but you know, as long as you got colours that you can work with, you can work with. This is just the colours I like. This one up here is just a mix from earlier. It's the mix of the background, just in case I need to use it again. I just thought I'd leave it there. I have just mostly Filbert brushes, and as a medium I'm using is one I mix, which is, I think it's like about, I'd say 70% stand oil and 20% turpentine, or 30% turpentine, or like 80% stand oil, 20% turpentine. One of them, but I mostly just use it for the start anyway. So start off an oil painting. I've already done just a preliminary drawing because I mean I have loads of drawing videos. You don't need to know how to draw, and I'm just gonna block in light and shadow. So like we have our lights here and we have our shadows here. So we're gonna start off just blocking in for ourselves, like a color block in the general color in that shadow and then general color in that light, and we'll work on top as we go. So let's get started. We'll start off with the darks first anyway. Now the dark, and because we have like a darker kind of background, I don't know if I want to go much darker than what we have here. The darkest part of this painting will probably be in the hair, but as you can see, the values in the face are all fairly similar. You don't have super contrasting darks, except for maybe in the eyes if you want to go there. But even then, you don't want to press them too hard, or it starts to look a bit silly. So I'm gonna mix a dark, but I don't think it's gonna be super dark. We'll do, we think the local colour is kind of like an orange, so I'll just pick up some yellow, some red, or maybe too much red. But I might as well mix a good bit of this anyway. You know, I'm not usually used to actually mixing on a palette that's standing up. Usually it's in my hand. We get some burnt umber in there just to darken it a bit. Just gotta make sure it's properly mixed through. That's still maybe a bit too red for me, so I'm just gonna add some more yellow in. See where we can get for that. I think I might even need more yellow than that. I probably have to go in and grab some more yellow soon. Oh, that's actually looking okay as a kind of a dark orange. Now right now it's quite thick, so I'm gonna just grab my medium. Unfortunately I have it out of frame, but I'm just gonna dip my brush in it really. Not all the way, but just to get enough in. Maybe work on the side here. That's still a bit thick for me, so I'll grab a bit more medium. Alright, that will work. Yeah, it's quite fluid now. And now I'm just going to start blocking in. I'm going to make sure it's applied very thinly, because I'll work on this a bit more later. Is that too red? Or will we work with what we got? I wonder if it just looks very red, maybe next to this kind of greenish background. I could dull it down just slightly, maybe. Or I could come back in later with some cooler colours on top of it. What's going to be the choice here? I think I'll dull it down slightly. So I'll grab a little bit of blue. Maybe that's more than a little bit, but sure, look, it's fine. Get the rest of our mixture. That should be a bit better, eh? Yeah, I like that more, but still a bit. Now it's a bit light, so I'm gonna grab a bit more yellow. I could lighten up with white, but generally you want to avoid mixing white into your dark colors until later on. I don't think I don't think it's too big of a deal there, but let's try to keep as warm as we can go early, and we can cool stuff down later. You know, how's that looking? That's a bit better for me. Gonna grab a bit more medium because we mixed a lot of paint into there. Maybe a bit more. And I'm just using medium at the start just to thin stuff down because I don't want a lot of paint that's hard to work with later. Also, I've mixed way too much on my palette. I'm gonna run out of space soon. But now we'll start for just filling stuff in. Gonna make sure I don't have a lot of paint on my brush when doing this yet. I've marked out kind of with my pastel like where my darks are gonna be, but if I'm ever lost, I'll just look at my picture that I'm working with. I don't mind drawing over. I don't think you guys should either. Drawing over or painting over your lines you've drawn. You can find them later, and you know, when you're painting, when you're drawing as well, it's mostly about like just relationships through values. You're not focused on line as much. It can be a good thing to throw in, but it's all about just how everything feels next to each other. Now this red still looks, I think, quite dark, but I'm hoping that it only looks dark until I put in this really dark colour in the hair. Then this should look a bit lighter. And it should still work as long as I keep my light side of the face not too bright. The relationships should still sit well together, I think. And maybe just, actually the lips, the upper lip isn't too dark, but I'll just throw it in for now. I can go back a lot later. And I'm just going to paint over the eye as well, because the eyes is getting a little bit of light, but mostly here. And I'm just going to, instead of thinking of it as an eyelid and all this kind of stuff, I'm just going to treat it as a sphere. So I'm just wrapping around that sphere with my paintbrush. As long as I think of things as three-dimensional objects, it will do well for me as we go in through the painting. We're nearly there, I think, getting all the darks in on the skin, on the face anyway. This is kind of nearly sometimes the tedious process of the start of a painting, is just filling everything in properly. But again, you can see I'm not thinking of things too much. I get a bigger brush. Like I think when you start off your paintings, try start with a bigger brush. Keep yourself a bit loose. If you start small straight away, you're going to be way too tight, and you're going to think small. If that makes sense. Now my arm's actually already starting to hurt me, but I think that's because I hurt yesterday, which would make sense. Sometimes painting is a bit of pain. I think that's nearly everything I need for the start of this painting in the shadows. Let's see if I'm missing anything. I'll throw just a little bit more in here. Keep it loose, keep it a big idea. I've got that. Okay, now I can mix a colour for the hair, I think. Let's throw some a little bit just in here. I know there's some skin showing through. And it's kind of nice to do it here sometimes too. Or I want there to be a softer edge later. I'll just throw that in. Okay. Now let's think of the hair colour. It's brown, but is it a colder brown or a warmer brown? It's definitely colder than the skin tone I put down. But it's generally a warmish brown. Let me see. I'll just maybe mix into what we got here already. But I think I'll throw a bit of blue in as well. Cool it down. Having a bit of that skin tone show through actually might be kind of nice into the painting. Again, we'll throw a bit of medium into it, thin it down, just so we can spread in. Getting our local colours. Yeah, that's feeling okay for me. I won't follow the photo reference too much right now. I'll just follow what I put down, and I can figure out shapes a bit later just to correct them. You don't have to worry about accuracy too much right now. You've got your drawing, but even if like you just think of the big shape of color and value, that's gonna do more for your likeness than, you know, little dints of hair and corners popping out. Now this hair does switch into a lighter value soon, so I don't have to do all of this hair in this color. Though I could, Let me see. Let's continue with this for a little bit, and then I might mix a lighter value for the hair. We'll see where we want to go next. So just mixing away. Don't mind that, like, this now value is gonna like bleed into this shirt, but that's fine. At the end of the day, it's a painting. You kind of want things to look a bit painterly instead of like extremely accurate. And you know, I'm not looking for a photo here. Keeping things loose will just do nothing but benefit me. I think that's all the darks in the hair we need. Let me just mix it out a bit here. And now we can go on to the shirt, I think. Again, quite a lot of reds going on here today. But it's fine. Kind of a reddish purple, maybe I'd go with. No, maybe not red. No, still looking a reddish orange, I'm thinking. We'll go with the same value as the hair and just throw some in. So I can mix in with what I got in the hair. I don't mind going over my mixes because, yeah, again, it's not going to be the end of the world to try and mix them again. And keeping because my color palette is just 5 colors, it's easier to keep it all simple, you know. I'll throw just the tiniest bit of blue in there just to darken up. And then I dip into my medium again. And we start filling in. It's a rather simple but effective method of painting, to be honest. But it's the same even with drawing. Like, the simpler the better when it comes to doing your work. Also, I'm not even worried about too much about the direction of my brush strokes. Like, not loads, a little bit, but more worried about just blocking in and getting thinner paint down. You can see we've worked basically just in the kind of the reddish range of colors today, but they are all very distinct and separated to my eye later when I want to go work. Okay, where will we go next? I think we'll mix up the color for the hair on the lighter side. I'm gonna still use the same brush, but I'm just gonna wipe off the excess oil with some paper towel. Right, onto my mixture with the hair. Might grab some of that color from the background as well, throw it in. And then throw in just the tiniest bit of white so we can see where we're going with this color. Sometimes your darks are a bit hard to see. Let me see. With some medium, I don't exactly know if this is a perfect color to throw down value wise next to my dark hair, but the only way I can see it sometimes is to throw it down. I don't think that's too bad, eh? It's nearly the same value as the background, but that's sometimes kind of what I'm looking for. This will keep the hair soft, like kind of soft edges going forward. And again, I don't want to go too light at this stage either. I can save my lighter colors for some like playing around and design later. You can see the way the values are like nearly very similar, like they're bleeding into the dark very well. That's what I'm looking for, I think. And if I look at my picture, that value is nearly the same as the light value on the skin tone as well. Maybe the skin tone is just a touch lighter, but it's a good reference to go off of as we move forward. Alright, so we'll move on to skin tone. I still want to keep it kind of warm, but how do we go about that? I'll stick with the browns, but I don't want it super orange like I did earlier. Let's see. I'll start with some burnt umber, some red, some yellow, trying a bit more white. Yeah, that's nearly the colour I'm looking for, eh? Let me mix some medium into it. And the only way I can see is if I put it down next to the colour I already have down for the darks. Is that too much of a jump, or is that okay? I think that's fine. I'll work with that. It's not too strong. I can make it darker and lighter later as well if I really need to. Do I want to put it over here? Maybe just a little bit. And again, I'm just blocking in. It's kind of, you know, if you did the drawing, okay, you're just, it's like you're colouring in, really. So I think everyone says it, like, I think to be a good painter, you have to be good at drawing first. Because your colour is just a nice flourish on top of some good drawing, you know. You can see I'm mixing it. I'm even putting this colour into the skin, into the eyes. It's because I'm worried about value first and foremost, before I worry about colour, you know. Value is the importance here. Alright, I think we're okay with this blocking for now, right? So I put a little bit here, maybe just the tiniest bit for myself later. Oh, nearly forgot the neck. And you want to not forget about the neck, because a good neck can actually push a painting a bit more as well. Alright, I think that's enough for us for the blocking. We shall move on to the next stage. And the next thing we want to do is where our colours from the blocking. We may want to just fix up our drawing a little bit, as when we were kind of blocking stuff in, we'll lose a little bit of our painting throughout. It's fine. We can always just draw again. That's all we're doing with our paintbrush, you know. So I'll still use my big brush. Just well, I'm confident enough with it. I still want to think of the bigger idea. But I'm just going to be a little bit more accurate with my marks. Just to fix things as we go. And I know with the lips I'll need to swap to a smaller brush later. And also, because of the way this camera's set up, I actually can't get too close while being in frame, so I'm going to do my best while sitting further away from my painting than I usually do. It's a good thing to sit far away, but sometimes I think even for like brush strokes you need to get a little bit closer in. Again, I don't think I need to fix too much here, eh? A lot of this will come to life, and like I'll see a bit more of what needs to change as I paint in. Actually, let me get my wipe this paint off and get the lighter color again. I think we'll just treat this whole area as a big form, so let's keep that whole thing soft for myself. Here as well, I think. You need to think big. Yeah, that's a bit better, I think. Now, do I do the background now, or do I leave it? I think I'll leave it till later. I'll also get in some of this shirt here. I'll just take that local color I did earlier. Maybe throw a bit more red in. Get my medium. It's a bit pinky, but it's fine. There actually is that pink in that shirt there. Yeah, I think that's all we really need to indicate shirt, don't we? It's like, for the most part, that's all that's really getting the light. Yeah, that's fine. We'll keep it like that. Now, so what do we hear here? We have some choices to make. We can either work on the lights a bit more, or we can work on the darks. Let me think for a minute. Okay, at this stage, I'm going to start just thinking about hard and soft edges. I'm going to treat this dark I did as a soft edge in relation to the light and the darkness here. This is all going to be soft edge. So I need to start putting in some hard edges. So I need to mix a new color to do that. So let's get this local color I mixed here. We'll make it a bit darker. I'll go with burnt umber, because it's kind of just like a dark on orange. I don't want it too much darker, so let's see what it comes out as when we mix. Let me see that. I think that's okay. We'll work with it for now. I actually find it kind of hard to see with the setup I have at the moment. And I'll take some liberties of just drawing myself and semi-looking at the reference, because not every part of the photo reference is going to be in hard edge in reality, and that's really just something that comes from you know, painting from life a lot. You get a bit of a better eye for these things. I'm also not just gonna purely do it for hard edges. This is still a soft edge, but just in the shadow. I just need to put down some darker darks in the shadow as well. That just also kind of measuring sometimes. Always measuring just a little bit now. I think that's not too bad. We've got going there. Might put just that slightly down here into that nostril there. The idea of it. Though I think I need a softer edge around here. We can fix that later. I'll start putting some up in where it connects to the hair, because I don't want that to be a hard edge. Maybe around here too. Yeah, that's looking just a little bit better. Just make sure it's all good before we move on to the lights. I think I made that maybe too hard. Again, just a note for myself really later, more than anything. Just to look back on as we continue through our painting. Alright, we've made just a little bit of progress there, which is all we need to continue. So now I'll just clean up my brush again, and I'll go in with my lights. Now, the choice is either to go darker or lighter in the lights. So I think I'll do just a little bit lighter, start drawing a bit. I'll take again this local colour I did earlier, make it a bit brighter. I don't want to use just white, let's use a bit of yellow as well. Make it a bit warm. Maybe I'll throw in a bit of red, depending on the area that we're working on. Now we can start thinking about a little bit more colour. Maybe I want to throw a bit more red into the cheeks, a little bit more yellow as it gets up to the forehead, and then like a bit colder colours around the jawline. I still don't want to do too thick of a paint, so that's fine I think for me. Again, I'm working with a smaller brush, but I'm not going too crazy with the size of the brush or too detailed. I'm still trying to think about the bigger forms of everything. Just trying to get more down. I can also start thinking about directions of my brushstrokes a bit more, how they're planted onto the face, or the forms that we see. Maybe I'll start just mixing some more colour in. Let's do a bit. We'll do actually yellows first. Nothing too crazy. Actually, we'll go back to that blue. Now we can actually start just, in the main colour we did, we can start just pushing the colour around, but still keeping the same values. This is where you get to play around a bit with what you're doing. Now I also think I'm losing my drawing a bit, but that's okay, we can fix it later as we go on. I just need to be aware of what's happening as I put more paint down. I think this edge is too hard now. Again, I haven't painted any lips, eyes or noses in, but I've got the idea of them. I can tell where they're going to be placed, you know. Maybe sometimes that can look a bit silly, but it's okay. You know, your painting doesn't need to look like the person until, or even that, like, if you're going for a commission, go for it. But if you're just painting for yourself, just try to get a good face down. It doesn't need to look like the person. Enjoy yourself just painting, you know, sometimes. That's a bit too dark, is it? And then we still need to, I think, go back in and soften some edges now. I got that down. So let's take some of this colour I like. Now we're going to try to get just the in-between values. Soften some turns. Like you can see I lost this nose a lot, but I've got the general colours I want around it, the general values. So it should be easy enough for me to find it again when I come in later. it a bit too dark, I think, with that one. Still too dark. Let me get some paint off my brush. Yeah, that's about what I'm looking for, I think, now. And if you see a color you mix, and you just kind of see where you can else you can place it down, you know. It kind of works well in the painting if you have different, like the same color kind of popping out in different areas. Like even this background can pop up later on. We can see if we can place it in anywhere. It'd be nice to the eye. This is obviously too hard of an edge, so let's mix in something between. Again, now just also kind of worrying about values again to see if we can find their drawing. I think I should maybe try find this nose, eh? Slowly getting it. See, because I had like all my values kind of similar there, like what I needed, doesn't take too long to find the nose again. Even just the idea of it. I still want, I think I want to find this color again. I think I left on my palette here, yeah. Put that in. So I need some softness in the turns of the nose. Maybe I can get some more softness by actually putting in some lighter color. That way there's some reference for that light and hardness. I'll show you what I mean now. So if I start putting in some lighter color on that nose to define it a bit more. Oh, I need some paper towel, I got paint all over my hands. I always end up with paint all over my hands. Can't help it. Don't understand those artists who walk away from their easel completely clean. I'm just not that organized. Again, I'm not gonna. I do like putting in my highlighted colors a bit brighter, or a bit not brighter. What am I trying to say? A bit more colorful than what they appear. I think it's fun to play around with that. So let's see what I can do here. Maybe I don't want to do it too colorful yet because I'm just finding the painting. So this might be too bright. Let's see what happens when we put it down. Maybe a little bit too bright for now. Let's dull it down just a little bit. I think it's perfect brightness for the end of the painting. But I don't want to work with that right now. I want to keep everything soft for myself. That's a little better. See where I can throw it in. Maybe I can just use that as instead of highlight. It's because I'm treating it as a highlight. It's looking too bright. Let's just see if I can put it anywhere else. It's kind of like a greenish, or at least just a colder color I can throw down. Yeah, every time you add another value to your lights or your darks, you're creating also another plane on the form. Just be aware that you don't want too many going on. So I might need to get rid of this later. We'll have to see how it works, or at least move everything around it to make it sit a bit better. Gonna need a soft edge around this side as well, so let's throw that in. Yeah, I think that's looking okay. We got a pretty good start, I think, for everything we need to do. Let's soften these edges a bit. I'm just gonna wipe this paint off my brush. I don't tend to use a lot of brushes when I'm painting. It's better to keep it simple. I'll always go around that by that by that motto, you know. Alright, I think we'll leave it there for now, and on the next video we'll push it a bit more. That's the plan. Unless, of course, I've already cut the video earlier, and this is the second video. We'll have to see as we go. I think I put that eyebrow up too high. If I'm gonna leave that as my... Yeah, the eyebrow should be about here, right? Maybe that can just be the shadow. Okay, yeah, I think this is a good start. Oh, also, don't forget about that neck. No, you forgot about the neck. How heinous. I'm still gonna try to keep it thin. I'm not putting down my paint too thick yet. I'm not gonna use as much medium as I go, but use a little bit anyway. Alright, we'll leave it there for now, and we'll see what we can continue with soon.